How you doing, May?
Yo, what's up, man?
Not too much. How are you?
I'm cool.
Cool. May, are you at least 18 and are you a believer?
Well, I'm sorry I sounded so feminine. I'm a guy. I am definitely 18, and I am a believer in Paul's Evangel. So you can call me a universal reconciliationist if you need a label. So
But you're a
that's me.
Christian.
I don't like the term because they get things wrong, and there's no Bible passage telling people to call themselves Christians. So I don't like that. But if you insist, then fine.
Do you believe in Jesus?
Yeah,
Oh, you're a Christian. Cool. Is it your belief, May, that the Bible God, the God that you believe in, is all good?
yeah.
Okay. If the Bible God wasn't all good, could it still be God?
Um, if the God of the Bible wasn't good, could it still be God?
Yeah.
Well, it couldn't be the God of the Bible as he described himself. So no.
I don't know about that. I'm just asking, generally speaking, Bible or not. Can
Well,
your
if
God?
we're talking about a bad God, then hypothetically a bad God could exist. So
That's okay.
you know,
I agree. It is definitely logically consistent that a God could exist that was evil, but you believe in a God that's not evil, so we'll go with that. Okay. So
yeah.
have you read the books of Samuel?
I'm actually reading the Bible cover to cover at the moment to write a book, but not quite yet.
Okay.
So please.
I'm going to read you a section here from 1 Samuel chapter 2. So the priest Eli was the
Mm-hmm.
priest at Shiloh. His family was appointed by God to minister before the Lord continually, but his two sons, Hophni and Phinehas, were scoundrels, and they were desecrating the sacrifices and sleeping with the female attendants. So his two sons are scoundrels, and he does not rein it in. Eli lets it continue, and this really makes God mad. So God sends a prophet to pronounce judgment to Eli, and this is what he says in verse 22. Now Eli was very old, and he heard that his sons were doing all that his sons were doing to all Israel, and how they lay with the women who served at the entrance of the tent of meeting, so on and so forth. And then it says, a man of God came to Eli and said to him, "Thus saith the Lord, I have revealed myself to the family of your ancestor in Egypt, and they were slaves in the house of Pharaoh. I chose him out of all the tribes of Israel to be my priest, to go up to my altar to offer incense, and to wear an ephod before me. I gave to the family of your ancestor all of my offerings by fire from the Israelites. Why then look greedy with an eye at my sacrifices and my offerings, and honor your sons more than me by fattening yourselves on the choicest parts of every offering of my people Israel? Therefore, the Lord God of Israel declares, I promised that your family and the family of your ancestors should go out, or should go in and out before me forever. But now the Lord declares, far be it from me, for those who honor me I will honor, and those who despise me shall be treated with contempt. See, a time is coming when I will cut off your strength and the strength of your ancestors' family. No one in your family shall ever live to old age. The only one of you whom I shall not cut off from my altar shall be spared to weep out his eyes and grieve his heart. All the members of your household shall die by the sword. So, because Eli did not reprimand his two sons, Hophni and Phinehas, God says he's going to kill his entire family by the sword, men, women, and children.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Is that good?
There's a way it can be good.
How so?
Well, God turns all good into bad in the end, not just for some, but for all. So that means that everybody will see a day when the bad they experienced will make sense and be justified such that each of them will be satisfied with the fact that God did all that stuff in the first place.
So then it's good when people that are not associated with the crime are punished brutally for it?
Absolutely, not relatively.
So you don't believe in justice then?
I believe in justice, for sure.
So you would be okay then if you committed a crime that your entire lineage would be brutally butchered by the sword?
No, because I can't. What? Excuse me. Ask the question again.
You'd be okay if you committed a crime. You'd be okay with your whole family being brutally butchered by the sword.
I wouldn't be okay with it, but I can see how God would be able to more than make up for that eventually.
But would it be good? Would it be the right thing to do?
It could be good in demonstrating God's purposes to the celestial beings to which everything here on earth is a show, and even amongst humans in some sense. But for the most part, relatively from the human perspective, it's not very nice. But I can see how justice is still going to prevail in the end because God fixes it. You know what I mean?
We're not talking about.
It's not the kind.
We're not talking about that. We're talking about the behavior. How is it just to brutally execute women and children by the sword for a crime that they never committed?
Well, this is certainly a passage that I'm going to have to look at, of which there are, of course, many.
There's a lot, yeah.
Many challenging ones. So I can't say at this time what I would say to that. This is me really just winging it.
I get that. Yeah.
I'm still starting to study these things. And I mean, I'm sure you think that that's the case for every person who's ever claimed to believe in the Bible, but
most people don't
really
read
think
it, though,
that it gets better. Yeah, that's true. That's certainly true.
Right. Want to read another one?
Yeah, for sure, of course.
Sure. Have you read Job yet? That's a pretty popular one.
Yeah, I mean, I've read plenty of Job. Yeah, it takes the edge off to read it as a comedy. It can be pretty brutal to read it as a tragedy.
It is definitely brutal. I can agree with you on that. So, it says, one day the heavenly beings came to present themselves before the Lord, and the accuser also came among them. And the Lord said to the accuser, "Where have you come from?" And the accuser answered the Lord, "From going to and fro on the earth, and from walking up and down on it." The Lord said to the accuser, "Have you considered my servant Job? There is no one like him on the earth, a blameless and upright man who fears God and turns away from evil." Then the accuser answered the Lord, "Does Job fear God for nothing? Have you not put a fence around him and his house and all that he has on every side? You have blessed the work of his hands, and his possessions have increased in the land. But stretch out your hand now and touch all that he has, and he will curse you to your face." The Lord said to the accuser, "Very well, all that he has is in your power, only do not stretch out your hand against him." And then you know what happens. The devil goes out, executes a bunch of the servants and the donkeys and the animals and the children, and then God executes some of them as well. In fact, God executes in verse 16, while he was still speaking, another came and said, "The fire of God fell from heaven and burned up the sheep and the servants and consumed them." So God and the devil then go to work, literally destroying all of these people in the most brutal ways, just so God could win a bet with Satan.
Well, I mean, God doesn't need to win a bet with Satan. It's Satan's job to lie and to cause the things that God has him in charge of causing, including harm. So it's not to win a bet.
Who's he lying to?
Satan does suppose that, well, he lies to humans about the nature of God.
Does God know the truth?
Yeah.
Does God know that Job is going to be obedient?
Yeah.
Does God know the outcome of this entire narrative?
Yeah.
So then why does God need to torture Job and execute all of his family?
To teach everything in creation the principle of contrast.
That's not a meaningful answer. Why
I
why
doubt.
does Job's
I
family
doubt you
need
think that
brutally
if I
executed?
elaborated. Well, the reason contrast is an answer to that is because it means that everyone will be appreciative of the lack of suffering and death
So you can't appreciate
when
being alive unless your family's brutally executed? So it sounds to me like you don't appreciate being alive.
no, I mean we can't appreciate how we won't be able to appreciate perfection unless we first experience the opposite.
Yeah, we can't appreciate perfection unless our family is brutally executed. So how did the family get to appreciate the perfection? The ones that were brutally murdered?
Well, they are going to be resurrected as well, and they're going to experience the same moment of every tear being wiped away and the former things being a thing of the past.
Okay, so our mortal
it
lives
applies
are a
to
complete
everyone.
waste then. Our mortal existence is useless because we're just going to be in heaven. Also, you don't know that these people are in heaven. All of the servants and all the
No, no.
children,
See, there's no one in heaven
all of the
right now,
children and all of the
as far as
servants
the
were
Bible is
executed, and we
concerned.
don't know any of them went to heaven.
No, I'm not saying they went to heaven. I'm saying everyone will go to quote unquote heaven.
And yeah, because you're a
Right now they're
universalist.
dead. Right, yeah, right
That's
now
fair.
they're dead.
Sorry, I forgot you're a universalist. In your worldview, you're right. Everyone
That's
does.
all right, no
Okay.
problem. I understand.
Okay, so
Yeah, yeah.
then what value does our life here on earth have if we all get to go to heaven and we can just be brutally murdered without any excuse?
Well, it's contrast. It's
For who? Not for the
it's the
person
same
dead.
answer. Yeah, definitely for the person dead too.
No, because you're
For
dead.
all suffering and death for everyone. Well, see, the thing is, they've been killed, and they will also be resurrected. And that life that they lived, the futility of this life has its meaning in the life that it is going to become. Because as in Adam all are dying, thus also in Christ shall all be vivified. So all will be vivified and enter a new stage of God's story in which it will be very much the opposite end of that contrast. And
So
it will be
are you
better for everyone.
unable to experience the joy of heaven because your family hasn't been brutally murdered?
Well, I mean, I've certainly had my own suffering, and I think
Oh,
we've
interesting.
all had frustrations.
So
So
you
that's what it's based on.
so you only need a little bit of suffering. You don't need your entire family brutally executed.
Well, God,
I really hope that
God
later
decides how
tonight.
much suffering people have.
I really hope
Yeah.
that later this week or later tomorrow, whatever, that you go back and listen to this. It's going to be posted on YouTube, but I want you to listen to the nonsensical things you have to tell yourself to justify this story. I really hope
I really
that this
could, but
conversation keeps you up at night, that you're justifying the brutal execution and murder of innocent people just so an all-knowing God can win a bet with a Satan.
I appreciate that you're challenging me, and I don't have a personal issue with that at all. But I do believe that that what I'm saying has good grounding, and that it's ultimately going to be something that even you're going to vouch for. Because
I would never.
every knee will bow and every tongue will confess. So
Nope.
that's cool. I mean, I'm not. You know how it goes with people that believe in universalism, as you would say, or as I would say, universal reconciliation, because I think there's a difference. We're
There's
cool
not
with
there's
people
not
regardless of their beliefs.
a single chance that I would ever worship a God that brutally execute people in cold blood who have absolutely no reason to be executed other than he wants to win a bet with Satan, even though both Satan and the God already know the outcome.
Not even if everyone who suffered in every way possible gets to have a life that contrasts perfectly with that in such a way that everyone is perfectly satisfied.
It's irrelevant.
That they learned from that.
You don't need that. You do not need to be brutally murdered or have your family murdered to appreciate the good things of life. And you already said that.
Well, that's not true. I mean, I think people take for granted that they can only appreciate good once they've experienced bad.
If you can only experience good after you've experienced bad, then God has never experienced good, because before he created the shit show down here, he was good. He created everything good. Before the fall, everything was created good. So now you're telling me that it actually wasn't good.
No, it was good.
It wasn't good. Because you said you have to experience the horrors of getting your family brutally murdered to know what good is.
Yeah, see, that's why Adam and Eve ate the forbidden fruit of the knowledge of good and evil, so that they could learn about good and evil. That was the point.
Was there good before they ate?
Yeah, but they couldn't comprehend either. They couldn't appreciate it.
Was everything good before they ate?
Yes.
Did God know it was good?
Yes.
Did Jesus know it was good?
Yes.
Did they need to experience the horror show before they knew it was good?
Yes.
Do you have children?
No, I've got people who are dear to me, if you'd like to use them as an example.
I'll use my own child. My child loves me, and I love my child. I've never once had to brutalize my child for my child to experience love.
And neither would I, yeah, of course, because you can't perfectly make up for the most heinous things ever.
No, you're missing my point. My point is you don't need to be brutalized to appreciate good things. Just like I don't need to chew on glass to know that I like steak. All right, listen, May, it was good talking to you. Thanks for coming up. We're going to move on to the next guest, okay?
I think not tasting steak is, but anyways.
Okay. Wild.